Minister, it's been over 2 months since Minister Canny came out and visited Portrane, and I'm wondering, in the intervening time, what has happened to deal with the critically dangerous and worrying situation of coastal erosion in that area. When we've raised this issue previously, we hear on the one hand, well, we've given Fingal money, it's up to them to apply. On the other, Fingal saying, well, we're not in a position to do anything. I want to know, how can the heads be brought together that we can get this issue addressed?
Thank you. The management of problems of coastal protection in the area indicated is a matter for Fingal County Council in the first instance. Council must assess the problem, and if it is considered that specific measures and works are required, it is open to the Council to apply for funding under the OPW's Minor Flood Mitigation Works and Coastal Protection Scheme. Any application received will be assessed under the eligibility criteria, which include a requirement that any measures are cost beneficial and having regard to the overall availability of funding. Fingal County Council applied for and was approved funding of €57,800 under this scheme in 2012 to carry out a coastal erosion risk management study of Portrane to Rush. The funding was drawn down in 2013 following completion of the study. Following the severe storms of winter 2013 to 2014 and on foot of submissions made by the local authority, total funding of €200,000 was provided by the OPW to Fingal County Council under the government's decision of S180/20/10/1272 of the 11th of February 2014 to allocate funding for the repair of damaged coastal protection infrastructure. Part of this funding was for dunes repair project at Burrow Beach, Portrane. This project was not proceeded with by Fingal County Council at the time, and the Council indicated that this would form part of a separate application under the Minor Works Scheme. Mr Canny visited Portrane on the 21st of February 2017 to view himself the effects of coastal erosion in the area. He met with local deputies, local representatives, residents and property owners. I was impressed by the level of engagement locally with the Council officials in exploring options to address the problem. Mr Canny knows that Fingal County Council is working hard to identify an appropriate and sustainable solution to the problem at Portrane in advance of submitting an application to the OPW for funding to carry out works. Mr Canny has been advised that his office is not currently in receipt of any application from Fingal County Council under the Minor Flood Mitigation Works and Coastal Protection Scheme for dune protection works at Portrane. His office remains available to work in partnership with Fingal County Council to provide any assistance possible to alleviate the effects of coastal erosion at its location. Thank you.
Déjà vu about this. It seems to be very similar to the answer we got in the last round of Minister's questions, which also followed the Minister's visit. And I'm conscious that this Minister is going to be replaced by another Minister in a week or two's time when the ministerial rota shifts, and he'll actually be the third Minister who's been out in Portrane, because in 2012 we had another Minister come out and say the same thing. And the problem is that in the intervening period, the damage that's been done to the dunes and the threat to people's homes now at this stage is getting critical. Now, I acknowledge, as I did weeks ago when we were here, that the local authority is the one that's been given responsibility for this. I recognise that monies have been made available, but those monies have not been utilised, and I haven't seen any evidence of a sufficiently efficient and quick response or urgent response to what is a dire necessity. And I suppose what I'm asking is, it's all right for the Minister, and I know it's not you, Minister, you're here standing in, to say, oh, we're working in partnership with the Council. The point I'm trying to make is it's not working. Can somebody come in and deliver an urgency to this situation that we can get some works done on the ground there?
Thank you, Deputy Daly. Minister.
Thank you. I very much appreciate the Deputy's commitment to this issue, because I was here on that previous occasion in the House when this was debated with you and Minister Canny. And of course there's a need for urgency here, but because of what we're talking about in terms of coastal protections and flood protections and the works that need to be carried out, we have to make sure that they are the right works and that the correct process is followed. And insofar as that process is concerned, because of it is a matter for Fingal County Council, they have to identify the appropriate, sustainable and viable solution to the problems at Portrane. And once that has been done, they then can apply for OPW funding. And if the funding is approved, then it's a matter for the Council to progress the necessary works. But the solution that has been proposed in the risk management report may not be the environmentally sustainable and best one, and so the Council is currently looking into that matter. But once they have made an application to the OPW won't be remiss in playing its part in this process in making sure that the protection works can take place at the appropriate time.
Deputy Daly.
I mean, obviously in works like this, the indirect impact has to be considered on the environment and other consequences, knock-on effects and so on. I don't think that can outweigh the direct impact on people's lives and homes. They are literally hanging on a cliff here. And, you know, do we have to have a house collapse before something is done? I mean, I accept that the local authority has the statutory responsibility, but when they haven't actually delivered upon that, is it not the case that the Minister's Department is the one to sit down and say, listen lads, we've given you this money, you spent some of it on a study, and you haven't implemented anything on that. Now we've still got nothing else done. We've given you other monies. When we raised this before, there were deputies here from other counties who were saying, hang on a minute, ye have money allocated there to them and they're not drawn on it. And we have a dire need in our areas and we can't get the money. It's absolutely ludicrous. And I suppose it's to stress, can we call the council in and get to the bottom of this once and for all, because it is just... the next time I'll be here, there will be a house in the sea if this isn't sorted out, you know.
Minister, to conclude. On the same issue.
You engage with councils on erosion, they say they don't have the money. When you put a PQ in, your department have allocated the money. And there does, and I absolutely agree with her. I think you should call in every councillor around the country and ask to know how they have spent their money or why they haven't spent it. And if they're not spending it and sitting on it, take it off them.
Minister.
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right about trying to find the right balance here, Deputy, in terms of the need to protect our coastal areas, but also to make sure that we're protecting human lives, human property. We have to proceed on this in the right way. The funding is available for these works to take place, but we need to make sure that we're doing the right works. And as I said previously, the risk management report that was done showed that the proposed solution may not be the correct one or the best one to be done. But of course, I will relay your concerns to Minister Canny and suggest to him that he do call in the council to see what solution the council and the OPW can try and find this matter urgently together. Thank you.
Well, you know more than we do, Deputy.